Well, I've taken a 3-hour bus trip from Kingston to sing you a song today. The chapter that I contributed to this book, which I feel very lucky and blessed to have done, is called Professions of a Stay-at-Home Father and Writer. I think one of the original titles was, it was something about fathers who mother and teach. And just for a little bit of sort of biography, I did my doctorate at UBC and finished in 1997. And the reason I went to UBC was to work with Carl at Leggo. And when I finished my doctorate, I came back to Kingston, where my family, I began to have a family, basically. I was teaching as a sessional at Queen's, and we had our first child, our son Hayden, and I continued to teach for that first year. Then we had our daughter, and at that point, my partner was a very fast-moving, uber-achieving university administrator, so it just made total sense for me to stay at home and look after our children. So that's what I did, which was a great thing to do. It's a nice work if you can get it. And during that time, I decided that I would take the opportunity while I was raising my children to slowly reclaim the artist that I've always known I've been, but found it hard to give myself permission to do that. It was easier getting a PhD than it would have been to go on the road and just play songs. So the happy ending is that now I'd go on the road and play songs. So this piece called Professions of a Stay-at-Home Father and Writer, I'm actually a songwriter, and what I'm doing now for my living is I'm writing poetry and songs, and I'm having being able to go and make people happy by singing. And the poet part of my life, they say that poets need another poet. You have to be blessed by another poet in order for you to really feel like you're a poet. So Carl was the person that gave me the blessing, said, son, not son like in a Western, but son, you're now a poet. And that was a gift that Carl gave me. So I love the idea now when I go to play that you can just make a song do all the work. There should have to be no telling. You can just play your song and say thank you and sit down. And I love when I see performers. Some people do that. Bob Dylan is very famous for not saying a word, just plays all the songs and then the show's over. How many people here, if you had a choice, like hearing the stories behind the songs, and how many people would put themselves in that category? Would say that you kind of like hearing, like you really get a relationship with a song if the person tells you where it came from? How many people just sort of like the mystery of just having the song played? And okay. So because I have the opportunity I would have been happy to come and sing this song. The song I'm coming to sing is not my own. It's written by a Texas singer-songwriter named Townes Van Zandt. He was really a Zen poet, a cowboy poet, who lived a very dark and troubled life and left a legacy of music that is quite staggering and shaped a lot of other musicians and artists. And this song by Townes Van Zandt is called To Live is to Fly. So I'm going to sing that for you. And this title of my chapter, Professions of a Stay-at-Home Father and Writer, I think could be retitled To Live is to Fly and subtitled both low and high. So I'll start by the way my chapter starts is I invoked Townes Van Zandt as an epigram to begin my writing. Days up and down they come, like rain on a conga drum. Forget most, remember some, but don't turn none away. 'Cause everything is not enough, and nothing is too much to bear. And where you've been is good and gone, and all you keep is the getting there. So that was Townes. And this story of being a stay-at-home father, when we talk about narrative and writing stories, what we don't often talk about is the fact that the stories basically start to write us, and often in ways that we don't want them to be written. And they get really messy and complicated, and you can try to perma-press them and maybe iron them out, but they always come back. So this story is, let's just call it rich, without putting any value on whether I think it's got lots of things in it. So I'll read you the introductory piece. Stories don't keep good time. They arrive late, if at all, or early in a language that strangles the tongue. Early or late, the best ones unsettle, because everything is not enough, and nothing is too much to bear. Expect a narrative to fragment, shred, and tear, and resist any and all attempts to tame it, or tell it. Time has dragged my story off the road, and in many ways, made a predictable mockery of it. This story is a story about a newborn parent, eyes wide open, thrilled and shit-scared, full of wonder. Eventually, the parent becomes a toddler parent. Lots of drooling and stumbling and laughing. More wonder. Several chapters later, and the protagonist is an adolescent parent, subject to hormonal tides, judgmental, courageous, uncertain, confident, forgetful, insecure, raging. Days up and down they come like rain on a conga drum. This story is fueled by music and love, caffeine and loss. It's about writing as a means of finding out what the story might become. Because where you've been is good and gone, and all you keep is the getting there. Before the story is even close to an end, the teller pulls up lame. Disoriented, dispirited, he looks for some way to find closure and cut his losses. Despite his best attempts to bring dis and functional together, the narrator finds himself still steering his life with a dumb, unaccounted for optimism. To live is to fly, both low and high. So I'm sure Towns would be loath to be part of any sort of scholarly endeavor. So I thank Towns in advance. Well, days up and down they come, well, like rain on a conga drum. Forget most, remember some, but don't turn none away. 'Cause everything is not enough, and nothing is too much to bear. 'Cause where you've been is good and gone, and all you keep is a getting there. Because to live is to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes. Sleep the dust off of your wings, the tears out of your eyes. So goodbye to all my friends. Well, it's time to go again. You think of all the poetry and the picking on down the line. And I'll miss the system here, 'cause the bottom's low, but the treble's clear. And it don't pay to think too much about those things we leave behind. Because to live is to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings, sleep out of your eyes. Shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes. Yep. Now we all got holes to fill. Them holes is all that's real. Some fall on you like a storm. Sometimes you dig your own. But the choice is yours to make, and the time is yours to take. Some toil upon the stone, some sail upon the sea. Because to live is to fly, both low and high. Shake the dust off of your wings, the sleep out of your eyes. You shake the dust off of your wings, the sleep out of your eyes. Because to live is to fly, both low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings, the sleep out of your eyes. You shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes. Shake the dust off of your wings and the tears out of your eyes. Thank you. How am I doing for time? So, if I may, in the scholarly setting, make a commercial plug. The project that I'm actually touring right now is it's a children's record. I spend a lot of time in schools, and I've always felt that I didn't belong in schools. I went to grade 27, but it's still, you know, I get in schools and realize that it's not for me. And Al Purdy made it all make sense for me. Al Purdy has a poem called The Freezing Music, and in that poem, he is at his home in Ameliasburg, out in the back 40 in his property in winter, and he's trying to watch water turn into ice. He wants to know the exact presto moment when water becomes ice. So, as only Al Purdy can, he self-deprecatingly describes himself on his hands and knees as the designated oddball to his neighbors. So he talks about the poet being the designated oddball or the artist, and that has made my life make sense. I realize that when I'm in a school, I feel like an oddball, but I also know I belong there. I love working with children, and so the fact that I feel like I'm a designated oddball, well, there's all the difference. So if that helps you, then bless you all.